Black Osama and the Terror Side Effect is free on Amazon Kindle for Christmas. Download it now. Link in description. What's up, everybody? It's Shaboy again, the Unabonger, the official mascot of Humane Garbage. And if this is your first time watching one of our videos, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks. So as I'm sure most of my viewers can tell, I am a comic book fan. I've been reading comic books since I was in grade school. And more recently, as the industry has kind of shit the bed, I've gotten more into self-published comics, crowdfunding comics, better known to the world at large basically as Comicsgate. Now, Comicsgate is kind of a nebulous term like most other terms, and it can be kind of confusing to really know what that means, even if you're a part of Comicsgate. But basically, the gist of it is, Comicsgate is self-publishers and blacklisted comic book artists who are kind of making their own fan base and selling comics directly to them. And one of the more prominent members of Comicsgate, kind of the guy who kicked it off and started it, is named Richard C Meyer, who has basically started self-publishing via crowdfunding his own comic books such as Jawbreakers, Pandemic, and a handful of others. Now, to kind of give you a short version of what I'm about to talk about, to get you caught up to speed if you're not already. Basically, Richard Meyer wanted to publish a comic book. He made YouTube videos criticizing industry professionals, and these industry professionals didn't really like that. So some of them conspired against Richard to keep him from working in the industry, and also from publishing his comic book with anybody else in the industry. Basically, Richard C. Meyer started a crowdfunder for Jawbreakers, and then kind of in conjunction with that was also going to publish through Antarctic Press, a pretty small comic publisher, but one who actually had access to comic book stores via diamond distributors. Well, an industry professional, Mark Waid, who is a pretty big-time writer and has been for plenty of years, he's got a Flash run that's pretty memorable. He, quote-unquote, wrote Kingdom Come, which is a perennial favorite, more notably painted by Alex Ross. He's done Superman work. He's had 2 runs on Captain America. One's a little bit more classic than the other. But anyway, this story goes that Mark Waid took it upon himself to call and warn Antarctic Press that they shouldn't publish this comic book by Richard C. Meyer because basically he's a real asshole and we don't like him. And hey, this isn't going to help your standing in the rest of the comic book community. That sort of bullshit. And then Antarctic decided not to publish Jawbreakers, which Meyer was pretty pissed off about, understandably. And instead of just kind of laying there and rolling over and taking it, he decided, hey, this is tortious interference. This is fucking illegal, and I'm going to take your ass to court about it. And that kind of happened in 2017, 2018, I think, initially. And the other day, basically, they both released a statement that said, hey, this lawsuit's gone on long enough. We're going to just throw in the towel and call it a day. I'll post some links below for some more in-depth kind of coverage of this story. But I'm not here to really rehash this story. I'm just kind of here to give you my little quick take on it. Which is, I really like Richard C. Meyer. I was a fan of his on YouTube before he started self-publishing. I was one of his first backers on Indiegogo the day that Jawbreakers was first available to back on the service. There's a lot of things in publishing and comic book publishing where there's a lot of gatekeepers, and there's pros and cons to this, but ultimately, those gatekeepers can kind of prove to be unfair and kind of keep their little boys club pretty insular. But when Meyer decided to sue Mark Waid for tortious interference, and then he started another crowdfunder to get money from his fans to pay for this lawsuit, that's where I had to fucking bow out. Now, I've still bought some books, some more crowdfunded projects from Richard C. Meyer in that meantime, but I never gave a fucking cent to his fucking legal crowdfunder because it felt really fucking grifty to me. Hey, bud, someone fucks you over and you want to sue them, go right the fuck ahead. But turning your audience into pay pigs to support that lawsuit is fucking gross as shit to me. Frankly, if you wanted to sue somebody as a businessman, what you should have done, in my opinion, is taken your own fucking money and paid the lawyer yourself. But that's not what really happened here. Actually, who knows what's happened here? Because with a lot of these sort of legal issues, basically, somebody ran out of money and their lawyer said, hey, we're gonna make a last-ditch effort to kind of make this work out for my client here, but ultimately, we're gonna drop this thing. And that's what we're just assuming. We have no idea if that's fucking true or not. Did Richard C. Meyer use this money that he got from this crowdfunding thing to pay his lawyer? Well, yeah, probably some of it at the very least. But do you think any of this money just went directly into his fucking pocket? There's a pretty good possibility of that, isn't there? I like Richard C. Meyer, I really do. I'll be honest with you, his writing is kind of shit, and his art is even worse. But I think he'd make a good editor. I think he's got kind of a good business sense, for the most part, disregarding this whole crowdfunder lawyer bullshit debacle. But for the most part, I think he understands comics and kind of the fan base well enough to be able to hire good people to make the comics he wants. Like he's kind of done with Chuck Dixon more recently. But a big thing that I think is still kind of an issue for these self-publishers, these Comicsgate creators, besides a handful of them that really were in the industry for a long time, like Ethan Van Sciver and Shane Davis, people who have shown over fucking decades of work that, hey, I can make a comic book and put it out. I think even still, a lot of fans can be pretty weary about paying about a minimum of $25 fucking dollars for a comic book that they're gonna receive in maybe a fucking year's time. Richard C. Meyer has delivered on some projects now, which makes you feel a little less apt of getting fucked in the ass. But if I had given money to his crowdfunder for a lawyer, for him to simply roll over 2 to 3 years later, I might feel kind of fucking bitter about that. And me personally, right now, I've got money shelled out for 2 projects from Richard C. Meyer that are in some sort of production stage. The Expendables Go to Hell and his space book. I can't think of what that's called right now. That's written by Chuck Dixon. But I think the next hurdle that Richard C. Meyer himself is going to have to jump over, whether he really wanted to or not, is getting his fans' trust back from this fucking lawsuit debacle. I'm sure these lawsuits cost a lot of fucking money. I'm sure these fucking lawyers can wring every cent out of you in ways you can't even fucking imagine. And yeah, he was gonna stand up for all the little guys and all the fans who want to be creators too. And he was really gonna fucking stick it to Mark Waid and show him that he can't do that shit. Yeah, that was the idea. But all he really did was just rolled over and fucking took it. And he could have done that 3 years ago and saved himself a lot of time and his fans a lot of fucking money. And my guess is that's going to leave a bitter taste in a lot of fans' mouths. And frankly, I hope his business can recover from this stumble, because I think it's going to prove to be a bigger problem for him than he really thinks. But anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you this time. If you are watching this video as it came out, Merry Christmas! And please, click the link in the description below to download our novel, Black Osama and the Terror Side Effect, for free today. And as always, remember to hit the pipe harder than you hit your wife and kids.
In a dystopian future where our elected leaders are liars, everyone is a clone after the devastation of the war, and all the continents of the world have conglomerated into one nation called Numerica. President Black Osama has illegally enacted the Terror Side Effect to maintain power and preserve the status quo through fear and ignorance. From the word terrorism, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims, and the suffix side, the act of killing, the Terror Side Effect is a top-secret government mind control program designed to turn the average person into a public shooter, killing everyone they can for no apparent reason and then themselves, leaving the rest of society afraid of each other and apathetic to their rights being revoked by the government for safety, because it's the easiest way to control everyone. Black Osama and the Terror Side Effect is a political science fiction novel that asks its characters and readers, how much control do you really have? Now available at all major ebook retailers.